Hey guys, welcome back to Reserved Investments. For those unaware, this is a collectibles finance channel, and I think we need a level set. I think that I have to have a conversation with all my current subscribers, all my new subscribers. If you're thinking about subscribing to this channel, whether you love me or hate me, I hope that you watch this video and at least take the time to understand what I'm doing here. Because I did upload two particular previous videos, one on the amount of people that are paying a premium for a common game like Metroid Prime Remastered because they can't get it at retail locations right now in physical form. And the other video was on Funko Pops and my views on that particular product, also what's happening, how that company is going through growing pains at present time to the point where they are dumping a lot of their inventory in the landfill. And for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, because I feel that a lot of the content that doesn't get to the far reaches of the internet that I produce is some of the best content on this channel. But every time I do a video, or I talk about video games, or Funko Pops, or heaven forbid, Pokemon, or even in certain instances, comic books, but not all the time, some of these videos get to a lot of people on the internet that normally don't view my content. And they come at me with pitchforks and torches, and they want to take me down, they want to attack me, and I don't think they realize what this channel is about. So I want to have a conversation with you all, whether you're a current subscriber, whether you're a new subscriber, maybe you're not even subscribed to this channel at all as of yet. Maybe you love me, maybe you hate me, but we need to level set. I need to give you the tools to understand so that you can become a better investor if you are choosing to attempt to invest in collectibles. Now, if that is not you, if you're watching this channel going, well, gee, Sean, I'm just a collector. I don't invest in this stuff. I don't care about the finance side of the particular antiques and collectibles trade. We need to start there because this channel is about collectible finance. I don't care about your feelings. I'm sorry to say. I don't care about the time you first discovered Star Wars, or you first played a Nintendo game, or you first discovered Pokemon, or you first discovered Magic the Gathering, or comic books, or even rare coins, or high-end art, or traditional antiques. Whatever it is, guys, I assure you, I have a passion towards these items as well. Unfortunately, that is not the gist. That is not the main talking point of this YouTube channel. This is about hardcore collectible finance, as it was taught to me from the age of 12, how I profited from it, and now I'm giving you all this information free of charge. You can get it one of two ways. All you got to do is watch my videos, or you can even read, or if you want to do both, the articles that I write for Antiques and Auction News. I do write for publications in the trade. So I just want to make sure I'm not somebody that just came out of the woodwork and started preaching these principles that I pulled out of my proverbial ass. I have been learning this stuff since the age of 12. And for the record, while I am appreciative of some of you in the comment section that tell me that I'm in my 20s, I am 46 years of age. As a matter of fact, literally December 2022 is when I turned 46. So I've only been 46 for a couple of months now. But with that being said, you guys need to realize, those of you that are new to this channel, this is a collectible finance channel. With that being said, it may not be the best channel for you. If you are a casual collector, if you don't want to know any of these core concepts, because there are people that watch this channel and they tell me, Sean, you ruined collecting for me. Or Sean, I don't think about these markets the same way since I discovered your channel, since I started to read the books that you recommend. If that's you, if that is you, this may not be the best channel for you. For the record, I do not create content to trigger people, but it is done in such a way, the content that I produce, that I know people are going to get triggered. So if you watch only one of my videos, and it is a video that's more controversial in scope, it's a video that is very drama-ridden, that video will potentially trigger you. I encourage you to go and watch other videos on this particular channel. At present time, I have over 400 videos uploaded to YouTube. I was very prominent in speaking out against the great video game speculative bubble. I have been very prominent attacking mass-produced scarcity in the overall modern era collectibles trade. Whether we're talking Funko Pops, whether we're talking Amiibos, whether we're talking limited edition video games like limited run games, strictly rare games, all of those particular products, whatever it is, I have been speaking out about it immensely. There are right ways and there are wrong ways to go about investing in antiques and collectibles, either over the short term or over the long term. One of the things, and I repeat this often on this channel, and this in and of itself is triggering for some of you. A lot of my mentors early on in the trade proved to me that if you're attempting to invest in antiques and collectibles over the long term, you are better off investing in history, i.e. antiques, traditional antiques, historical documents, items that are deeply rooted in history, like a signed letter from George Washington, rather than collectibles. Collectibles are based solely on nostalgia. At some point, in most cases, there are some exceptions, that nostalgia is going to come to an end. If you don't believe me, every year around Christmas time, I watch the original Christmas Story. Maybe some of you guys have seen it. Probably everybody watching this video at least knows the movie that I'm talking about, regardless of your age. Take the time to watch that movie. If you watch that movie, you're going to come across a lot of pop culture references that were popular back in the day in the 1940s and 50s that really have no meaning anymore. Like, does anybody know what Ovaltine is? Does anybody even know who Annie Oakley was? Does anybody want a Daisy BB gun for Christmas? If you watch that movie and you understand the core concepts that I teach on this channel, you kind of realize why some of the stuff that you guys are trying to invest in long term, it's not going to have the meaning or the connection that it does to you because you grew up with it. You understand what was happening in the world when that product was on the store shelf or online and you bid it on it or bought it on Amazon. Younger generations are more than likely not going to collect or gravitate towards the same things that you collected. Now, there are exceptions to every rule. Right now, certain comic books are going strong. Right now, certain markets in pop culture are going strong. But overall, these markets ebb and flow, and over the long term, history will always beat out nostalgia. You know, I'm a huge fan, for lack of better words here, reality television shows devoted to the antiques and collectibles trade. Whether we're talking about American Pickers, Antiques Roadshow, Pawn Stars, used to be Toy Hunter, a lot of those shows I love watching. I even love watching the reruns. And one of the things I was really intrigued in, I live in Pennsylvania, and literally I live 25 minutes from Valley Forge. And Pawn Stars did an episode where I think it was called Pawn Stars Does America, where they went to Valley Forge and they ate at one of my favorite restaurants in Philadelphia. And in that particular episode, Rick sits down and he negotiates a deal with a piece that I think was part of the American Revolutionary War Museum, which is also in Philly. And he pays over $100,000 for that artifact because it was so scarce. That was a historical item, guys. If you want to invest in antiques long term, that is an example of an item. If you have the money, you can go, you can buy that. You can put it in archival storage, protect it as best you can, put it in a safety deposit box, pull it out 50 years from now. I guarantee you there will most likely be a buyer for that particular item. And in most cases, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what you'd get for it, but you would probably get more than what you paid for it. Now, we do have to weigh something called opportunity cost, meaning perhaps compared to the average returns in a total stock market index fund or an S&P 500 index fund, maybe that's not a prudent investing strategy for you. However, if you have several $1 million and you're already well diversified, investing in the stock market, investing in real estate, you have very little debt, maybe spending $100,000 on an item like that, putting it away for 50 years, that could be a way to diversify your wealth. There are different strokes for different folks. In the antiques and collectibles trade, there's different markets for different investors. Guys, for the record, I just want to be clear here. while I am a collector, I have a lot of passion for these items. You need to understand that when you watch this channel, I'm acting more of an investor who is also a collector. A lot of you guys are collectors trying to be investors. So you go on all these collecting forums, you come into my comment section, and you cut me up simply because you're triggered, because you don't understand how these markets work. Now, again, that's not all of you. I want to be very clear. When I look at the demographics of this particular YouTube channel, 50% of you are younger than me, 50% of you are older than me. There are also, unbeknownst to a lot of you, because these type of people do not venture into my comment section, there's a lot of people that watch this content that have net worths of 5, 10. There are people who have reached out to me and I was able to verify they have net worths of $20 to $30 million on up, and they watch this particular YouTube channel. Let alone little Timmy watches one of my videos on Funko Pops. He has to come into the comment section and he has to argue with me because he doesn't understand how market cycles work in the antiques and collectibles trade. He doesn't understand opportunity cost. He doesn't understand how to build wealth. That's what I teach on this particular channel. Some of you guys are so lost. I hate to speak freely here, but I have to. Again, this is a small percentage of you. This is not my core audience, but I want to make this known. You guys are looking for the Konami Code to life. I can assure you, there is no Konami Code to the controller of life where you enter this specific code on the controller of life and you're given massive riches. You're given massive amounts of women. You're given massive amounts of respect. You need to work for it, guys. A lot of you don't plan to fail. What you do instead is, though, you fail to plan. And that's what's going to be your downfall. There's a lot of people that I work with through my consulting business. And regardless of their net worth, full disclosure, a lot of the people I work with, they have a minimum of $500,000 on up net worth, whatever age they're at. That's usually the core minimum of people that choose to reach out to me. It doesn't mean I don't work with people that have less than $500,000 net worths, but that just seems to be the cutoff when somebody comes to me and says, Sean, I'm looking to diversify in antiques and collectibles, or can you help me? This is what I own. This is what my collection is valued at. This is what I have. I have real estate, investments in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, and then over here I have my speculative assets. That's just the way it works out. Where I'm going with this, guys, is that you need to understand that your preferred collecting category does not exist in a vacuum, devoid of all market fundamentals, devoid of financial principles, devoid of economic theory. If the Fed continues to raise rates, I really hate to tell you, it is going to affect your collecting category, whether it's Funko Pops, Pez dispensers, Beanie Babies, high-end pieces of art, rare coins, traditional antiques, or somewhere in the middle, vintage Star Wars figures, firearms, sports cards, comic books, whatever we're talking about. There are fundamentals that drive these markets. Now, before I go any further, what I want to do, for those of you that are still listening to me talk, because I'm almost 14 minutes into this video, I'm going to go through the books that I recommend you read if you want to become a better collector and or investor. There is a big difference between an investor, a collector, and a speculator. Investors look at these markets completely different than a collector or a speculator. That's why this is a collectible finance channel. So I'm going to go through a series of books here. If you have any questions, I'll gladly help you. Let me know in the comment section below. If you are respectful, I will answer your question in full. I do not have time, I want to be clear, to keep going back and forth with some of you in the comment section because it doesn't really establish anything. And on that note, if you're a troll, hey, I don't mind if you come in the comment section, because even if you leave a nasty comment, even if you tell me, Sean, I would never subscribe to your stupid channel, or this is ridiculous, or you don't know what you're talking about, you are aware. All is what you are doing is telling the YouTube algorithm to pretty much carry this particular content further along the lines of people that may have never witnessed it before. And that's why literally in the last 2 weeks, I've added close to 400 and some subscribers to this channel. It's because people are doing stupid things. They think that they're hurting me. You're not hurting me. You're actually helping the channel grow, even by leaving a negative comment. I don't think you guys realize that. So without further ado, I'm going to go through the books that you should be reading. If you really want to learn about finance, you want to learn specifically about collectible finance, because I've said this before, in order to learn about collectible finance, you got to understand traditional finance first. All these people that you see on the internet, whether you love or hate them, whether they produce good content, whether it's just stupid hype-driven content, buy this, put it in a closet, in 20 years you'll have something. Even if it's that type of content, you need to understand that if they are making money in these markets, they most likely understand business, economics, and finance. And they are applying those core principles to the antiques and collectibles trade. If you do that, devoid of emotion, meaning you don't get caught up in the hype, I guarantee you, you'll be successful. Some of you, you get a credit card in the mail, and all of a sudden, you're putting something that you can't even afford on credit, trying to argue with me that it's an investment or it's going to go up in value. That is not a good use of money. That is not a good way to allocate capital in the antiques and collectibles trade. So without further ado, let's talk about some of these books that I've recommended many times on this channel. First book, this is called Devil Take the Hindmost. This is about financial speculation. For those of you that love arguing with me that your Funko Pops are not a speculative bubble, I don't know what I'm talking about. Beanie Babies are completely different. Pez is completely different. Cryptocurrency is completely different. I don't think you understand what a speculative asset is. Read this book. This book goes all the way back to the tulip bulb craze. If you don't know what the tulip bulb craze is, it's okay. I can teach you. Go look it up. Read it about it on Wikipedia. Get this book. Read it cover to cover, and you will start to understand speculative bubbles. Now, I know what you're going to say. Well, Sean, I want to learn about collectibles. This is a finance channel. This is a finance book. Sorry, I misspoke. I want to learn about collectibles. Okay, next book, we're going to talk about collectibles. The book is Mint Condition. Mint Condition is about what happened in the 1980s, early 1990s during what we call the junk wax era, when a lot of these manufacturers were overproducing pieces of cardboard with baseball players on it, selling it for a premium in the open market. People were buying it, keeping it factory sealed, sitting it in a storage unit, sitting it in a spare bedroom, thinking it was going to finance their children's education or their retirement. Sound familiar, collectible card game collectors? You need to read this book to understand how it happened, so that you understand mass-produced scarcity. So you understand that a lot of these companies, whether it's Funko Pop, whether it's Lego, whether it's Nintendo, whether it's limited run games, most of these companies are taking advantage of your stupidity and your naivety. Now, to be fair, again, if you're a collector, that's going to be triggering for you, because what you don't realize is that even if you have a passion for something, just because you have a passion for it does not make it a good investment. You are a human being. You're logically wired to convert your emotions into justification for your actions. And people do not realize that. There's people that go through life trying to justify why they do things simply because they have an emotional response to do those things. People like that never become successful. Most of those people end up living in their parents' basement. They end up living a life of poverty, going through life blaming other people for the actions they took. Now let's go back to finance for a minute. You may be looking at me, you may go, Sean, I don't understand any of this finance stuff. Maybe you're young, maybe you never learned. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I went to school for it. I went to college for it. So that's how I learned, okay? There's a lot of books, though, that can help you. The book that I recommend, Random Walk Down Wall Street. And believe it or not, there is a section in here on collectibles. This is going to teach you investing basics. This is going to teach you about the stock market. So when I start talking on this channel that the overall return on the stock market last 50, 60 years has been right around 8 to 10%, depending on what you are investing in. Whether or not you're investing in a total stock market index fund, an S&P 500 index fund, roughly 8 to 10% if you look at the numbers. Now, why is that important? So you don't come into the comment section and you go, Sean, it's fiat currency. It's all going to go to zero, and start spouting off conspiracy theories. Investing in the stock market, if you are doing it right, if you're going after index-based funds and just capturing basic market returns, guess what, guys? It's the easiest way to build wealth. You're building wealth passively. There's no inventory. You're not doing anything stupid. You're not doing anything crazy with cryptocurrency, gold, silver, whatever it is. It is the easiest way to build wealth. Now let's go back and start talking about collectibles. If you really want to understand a lot of the core principles that are taking place in the great collectibles marketplace, when I bring up topics like optimal collecting grade, when I bring up topics like eye appeal, premium quality, all of those terms, when applied to most third-party collectibles, more established third-party collectibles in general, sports cards, comic books, currency, even to a lesser extent, certain toys, I'm starting to see this applied to. That came out of the coin market, believe it or not. Coins were the first third-party graded collectible. As such, if you really want to understand the dynamics, read this book, The Coin Collector's Survival Manual. This is the revised 7th edition. This book is well worth buying, even if you have no interest in coins, because it's going to teach you the basics of a mature and sophisticated collecting category that a lot of investors choose to operate in. Now, got to go back to Wall Street here. There's an excellent book that is entitled Just Keep Buying. And for the record, this does not mean keep buying collectibles. Please, don't get yourself into trouble. What this means is, if you're somebody that is trying to build wealth, again, easiest way to do it is with stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs. Well, this book looks at people who invest in individual stocks. There is a small mention of collectibles, I believe, in this book, and it talks about people who build wealth in the stock market. If you use dollar cost averaging and you buy index-based mutual funds or ETFs, over the long term, you will always come out ahead. That's why the title of this book is Just Keep Buying. This is a book that you should be reading. On that same vein, if you want to understand your relationship with money, you need to read the book, The Psychology of Money. This is one of the best books ever written. If you understand the core concepts taught in this book and you understand your own relationship with money, you're probably not going to come back into the comment section on any of these videos and start arguing with me that I don't know what I'm talking about. Because a lot of the core principles that I teach all come back to your psychological makeup. Some of you out there, I don't mean to be rude. Again, I'm not insulting anybody. Some of you are not wired to build wealth. Some of you are not wired to become wealthy. I really hate to say this, guys. I'm going to really be honest in this video. Nobody ever wakes up one day and says, finally, I don't know how it happened. I got rich, or I have $500,000 or $1 million or $2 million sitting. It doesn't happen. People that get that kind of money, they plan for it. They start when they're young. They use the power of compounding, time value of money, opportunity cost. They understand all these core principles, and they set up an investment plan. And now when they get into their 40s, 50s, 60s, it's like, well, crap. I've been putting X number of dollars in this every week. It may only be $20, $50, $100 a week. It builds up. And you look at your account balance, and now you're sitting here, you're Joe the man. You're Giga Chad. You've got like $400,000 sitting, and you're like, well, gee, how did that happen? I'm in my 40s, and I got like $400-some thousand just sitting. Because people fail to plan. They don't plan to fail. Again, there's no Konami code to life. You either make it happen or it doesn't. Now, there's 3 more books I'm going to recommend. All these are based on antiques and collectibles, with the exception of one that's both finance and is also based on antiques and collectibles. So these are the heavy hitters. These are the books that I've always recommended early on my channel, and that's why I'm bringing it up now that I'm 24 minutes into this video. First book, if you can find this, it is well worth reading. If you cannot find it, because the book is considered rare, it was only went through 1 printing, please do not spend the asking money for this particular book at present time. I honestly believe at some point this book will start to drop in price. My channel, unfortunately, ever since I brought up this book, it's pretty much caused this book to shoot into the stratosphere because it's so hard to find. The book is called How to Make the Most of Your Investments in Antiques and Collectibles. The First Insider's Guide to Manipulating the Antiques and Collectibles Markets to Maximize Your Investment. And this is by Harry Rinker. If you don't know who Harry Rinker is, you need to start there, because he is somebody who my mentors utilized to teach me a lot of these core basics. Harry Rinker is a genius in the trade. Full disclosure, he is well into his 80s. He literally recently just retired. But if you go to www.harryrinker.com, you can read some of his articles where he dispenses advice about how these markets work over the short term and over the long term. Next book, one of the best books about antiques and collectibles you will ever read, Killer Stuff and Tons of Money. Killer Stuff and Tons of Money was written by Maureen Stanton. Maureen Stanton is not involved in the antiques and collectibles trade, but she has a good friend who is a well-known antique dealer that wishes to go by a pseudonym that the subject of this book was written about. If you read one book only on this list and you want to read about the antiques and collectibles trade, make it this one. You can get it for less than $20 on Amazon, shipped to your door. It is well worth reading. Now, one of the best books on this subject I saved for last. And this is a true finance book, okay? I'm just going to open it. I'm going to show you a page here just to show this, because there's a lot of graphs and formulas in this book. This book is called Collectible Investments for the High Net Worth Investor. Let me read that again. Collectible Investments for the High Net Worth Investor. This is actually a college textbook. So those of you that come into my comment section and tell me, Sean, collectible finance doesn't exist. You made it up. You made all this stuff up. You don't know what you're talking about. Again, to sum this video up, this channel may or may not be for you. You have to decide that. I knew early on when I set out to record videos with bad lighting, no editing, no filters, sitting here in my basement office at 1 a.m., I knew this channel was not going to be for everyone. I never set out to create a platform where I have 100,000, 200, 500,000 subscribers. The content that I teach is too niche. That is never going to happen in this sphere. The reason why I've been getting a lot of new subscribers, a lot of new viewers, is because some of the drama-ridden content that I've been putting out, which was not done on purpose, it just became fueled by internet rage. And as a result, we now have people that are watching a lot of my videos where I talk about Funko Pops, Metroid Prime Remaster, mass-produced scarcity, Pez dispensers, whatever it is. And for that reason, more and more people get exposed to this particular content. But I assure you guys, that was not done on purpose. So get something out of this video. Please understand, I fully recognize this channel, the content that I produce, maybe even my personality, it may not be for you. If it is, though, and you want to learn the antiques and collectibles trade from a financial perspective, I'll be happy to teach you. If you have an open mind, you want to watch these videos. If you don't like my videos, you can easily read the articles that I write for Antiques and Auction News that I put out every 2 weeks. Either or both, guys. You decide. But I'm not going to get offended if you unsubscribe from this channel or you choose not to subscribe. Maybe it's not your thing. There's a lot of hype-driven content out there that you can get your fix with. And those particular individuals, maybe they'll give you the Konami Code for life. But I really, really caution against trying to get it all at once. Wealth is usually built over the long term. It is not something you get right away. It is something that has to be cultivated and earned. It's like a role-playing game, like an RPG. You gotta grind at it. I've been doing this since the age of 12. Let me say that again. I'm 46. Been doing this since the age of 12. So some of you guys that are just coming into this market, you think by tomorrow or next week or in 5 years, you're going to accomplish what I've accomplished. You're dead wrong. You got to grind at it. I wish you well. I've been speaking for almost 30 minutes. Apologies. Let me know what you think in the comment section below.